Just give me one moment. Yeah, I need to switch to video. So I guess we've got one missing. One since we're going to show up. Okay, good morning. Welcome to the Temple Municipal Court. I'm Judge Person, and I do welcome everybody to court this morning. I do want to give you some basic information before we get started. I want to let you know that this is a Class C court, and when you're given a ticket or a citation and you come to a court like this one, these are cases that have the consequence of being found guilty is fines and costs. I normally don't assess jail time. The times that people can wind up with a warrant have to do with failing to follow a court order. So please pay attention and make sure you understand your court orders when and if we make a court order today. I also want to let you know that when you're given a ticket or a citation, that's a method under our law that we have for accusing someone. That's what a ticket is. It is an accusation. And when you enter a plea, you're giving your answer or response to that accusation, and there are three options for entering a plea: guilty, not guilty, and no contest. Now, if you enter a plea of guilty, you are admitting the offense. You're saying, as written, yes, I did this, okay? So when you admit that offense, we move forward with sentencing today. We normally don't delay that because while at higher level courts, often the judge will ask for what's called a pre-sentencing investigation pack. It's a lengthy process, and we really don't need to engage in that level of detail about your background on a Class C offense most of the time. The one exception is if it's beneficial for you to get me information that might help you get a better outcome. And if that's coming up, I'll let you know when those kinds of things come up. And I'll discuss that more in a moment, just in connection with some of the options that you have. But if you plead guilty, we're moving forward generally, okay? And I'll talk about options in just a moment. Another way to plead would be to plead not guilty. And our law presumes that we're not guilty. So if you plead not guilty, you're not having to prove guilt or not guilt. You're pushing the burden of proof back on the state. Ultimately, what that means is you're asking the case to be to be proven against you, and therefore you are requesting trial. So your next step will be, we have a Zoom pretrial, and then we have, depending on where that goes, the next direction will be an additional live pretrial to either finalize a decision, to make sure everything's in order, or to schedule trial. So there's a couple of steps there. We try to keep your time away from your private life at a minimum. And we're doing that through Zoom at this time. So you're not having to take off work or school to do that. But we will have steps that way, in that direction. But I won't be sentencing you because we don't know if you're going to be found guilty or not. So we'll have to see what happens there. If you plead no contest, that's the third option for pleading. You're just authorizing me to find you guilty without admitting or denying the offense. So no contest, nolo contendere, means I'm not contesting the accusation. So if you plead no contest, it moves in the same direction as if you plead guilty, just without admitting or denying the offense. So therefore, if you plead guilty or no contest, I'm going to move forward with you today. If you plead not guilty, we're moving to a pretrial. That includes the prosecutor, who must be involved at that point, and potentially trial, okay? If you plead guilty or no contest, there are still some ways to keep it off of your record. The general rule under Texas law is that you're found guilty, it goes on your record, and you pay it out. There are exceptions to that, and the first one that most people think about is a driver safety course option, and that works with moving violations. If you're qualified for that option, I'll walk you through those details. It's a detail-specific thing, and of course, there will be things for you to do to earn that dismissal, but you do get it off of your record. And in the driver safety course option, You actually save some money. Another option would be to do teen court. And if you qualify for teen court, then you're actually moving toward a dismissal as well. And once again, there is a money savings, but the bigger issue is we're going to focus the dollars that are utilized toward addressing the problem that got you to court in the first place. And so usually there's a class and some things for you to do. And again, that's very individualized, and I'll walk you through that if it applies to your situation. The third option, the final option, would be to do a deferred disposition. That is a written agreement for a dismissal to keep an item off your record. It's actually the next go-to if the other options don't apply to your situation. And it looks like probation, except there's no probation officer. There's just a good behavior probation and usually some things for you to do. We have to work out fines and costs and figure that out. Income information becomes relevant at that point. Sometimes there's a class as well. There are certain types of offenses that have dismissal options available within them under Texas law. Those are usually relegated to equipment and things of that nature. I'm not going to go into a long explanation about that today because I don't see any of that on the docket. And I just would be taking your time to explain something that isn't helpful to you today. But there's a lot of information I can give as we go along. And I consider it my duty to make options available to you. Some people don't want those options. They just want to take the hit, pay the ticket, and be done with it. And I can't stop you from doing that. But I assume that if you're meeting on this meeting, you had questions or concerns or issues, and I want you to bring those up as we move forward. If you have questions, you can ask. There are certain things I can't do, including giving legal advice. You do have the right to have an attorney advise you. At the Class C level, we do not court appoint that attorney, but we can give you time. So if you want time to meet with an attorney and ask legal questions, then we'll recess the case and come back a different day. And you just tell me that I need time. And that's invoking that very important right, okay? Not a problem. We just need to reschedule you, and I don't mind. If you ask me a question that is legal advice, I will just let you know, hey, I'm not going to be able to answer that. This is why. So don't be nervous about your questions. If it's not a question I can answer, I'll explain, because I don't expect you to necessarily know the difference. And there are some times where that's not terribly clear. So just ask, and if I have a problem with it, I'm not going to get mad and yell at you. I'll just explain what's going on, okay? All right. And so I'm just going to take people in the order that they came in. We don't have a big docket today. But Mr. Mobley, let me get you unmuted. There you go. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing this morning?
Well, thank you for asking. I want to ask you a couple things, but the first most important is, do you understand those pleading options of guilty, not guilty, and no contest?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And you're 19 today, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you, by any chance, it would be unusual, but are you still in high school?
No, I'm in my second year of college right now.
Okay, it's a teen court question, so I just want to
Okay.
rule that out up front and see what else we might do. I don't know your plea yet, but if you paid this citation, it's $286. How are you pleading to the charge?
No contest.
Okay. And I don't see that you've ever been in a court before. Just give me 1 second. Did we have any income information? Okay. So I don't have income information for you right now. What questions do you have before? We do have options for the payment. Are you working at this time?
No, not currently.
Where do you go to school?
Texas State University.
Okay. Where is that again?
San Marcos.
San Marcos, okay. Okay, because I have you in the Killeen area. Is that family?
That's where I lived before I moved out here. Just haven't updated all the information yet.
Okay. Let's see. What is is the Killeen address your mailing address?
That is not my mailing address.
Okay, let me get that from you. What's your mailing address?
512 Craddock Avenue,
Can you spell Craddock?
CRADDOCK.
Craddock. Okay. Avenue.
Yes.
And what's
And
the zip?
the zip is 78666. And the suite number is 1411.
And that's San Marcos.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And the phone number, what's the good phone number for you?
254-462-9183.
And then the email we used for this meeting setup today is still good?
Yes.
Okay. So you don't have income at this time?
No, not currently.
Okay. Are you living on student loans?
Yes.
Do you have any dependents?
No.
Let's see. The bills that you're paying through loans?
Yes. And like doing like delivering food, stuff like that to make a little extra change here and there.
So you're working for like Uber or?
Yeah, I do like Uber Eats every few days a week to try to make a few extra dollars. So,
Okay. Do we have an income form? Yeah, payment application. I need to do an affidavit with you to qualify you for the possibility of community service. And I'm just
okay.
gonna, instead of mailing, they should have mailed one to you, but and I'll try to get it from you.
Is it by any chance one of these papers that I was given? Because I was given papers there at the court, and it said the affidavit of ability to pay. Is that?
That's it.
Okay.
Have you filled it out?
No, I have not filled it out. They told me to wait until I spoke with you to see what was going to be happening.
Okay. So is there a way that you can work on that while I talk to the next person?
Yes, there is. I just need to go run and grab a pen.
Yeah. And are you able to scan or photograph it and email it over to us?
Yes.
Great. Fill it out.
Okay.
Send it over to the court online help at email. And that'll save us a little bit of time. And I'll be right back with you. Just stay right there and do it. And I'll remute you and we'll talk about options. Are you requesting a deferred to keep it off of your record? Is that your request today?
Yes, it is.
I figured it was the reason that you wanted the meeting. So I just wanted to confirm that. I will grant that. We just need to sort the details out. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Let me just go run and grab a pen.
Yes, I'll mute you, but when you finished, if I'm still working with the gentleman that I'm going to next, just let me know, and I'll work back over to you soon. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm anticipating 14 hours of community service in a class. I'll do on 322. I don't know the drug yet, so I don't know the class yet. Okay, let's find one of those classes then. A marijuana class. Just some education's good. Hi.
Hi.
Oh, good. We're working. I can hear you. I'm going to try this. Robacek? Herbacek. Sorry. Okay, Zachariah, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
How are you today?
I'm good.
I'm Judge Person, and I did get your information about school, and I'm thinking we're probably going to try to talk about teen court. But before we do that, I wanted to ask you if you understood those options for pleading guilty, not guilty, and no contest.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And your dad, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
That's your dad? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Just a good question that I want to know after I plead. Let me just ask, how are you pleading to the charge?
No contest.
Okay. My first teen court question is going to be this one. Was there an accident?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, usually there is with failed to control speed. It doesn't always involve another vehicle. Did it involve another vehicle at this time?
Yes, ma'am, it did.
Okay, so did insurance pick up that conflict? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't like to weigh in while an insurance case is pending because I'm not trying to influence that in one direction or another. If it's decided, great. And you weren't cited for no insurance, so I wasn't really concerned about it, but I always ask. Teen Court is probably our first go-to program. With Teen Court, there is a $20 fee. Can you pay that fee today? Okay. Okay, so what happens is the $264 of the ticket goes on hold. And you pay the $20 fee and you take a driving class, a driver safety class. I'll push you towards some that are local that do, young driver education, but I'll actually take any driver education class. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's a 6-hour class. All of them are. And I will need that back in 30 days. That's going to be February 22nd. I'll need a certificate of completion.
Okay.
And that will be what we're going to do for teen court. Right now, we're not doing teen court as a process in school. We have been doing it in the schools, but we really aren't authorized to do that under state law right now. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. So is that the same as like just a driver safety course online, or is it an in-person class?
You can take an in-person class. There's one geared towards young drivers that I will put in your information packet, but I will take an online class too. Okay.
So back in February of last year, I had a ticket for failure to use a turn signal, like merging on the highway.
Yes.
So did that have any effect on it?
My position would be that you probably need another class or we wouldn't be here today. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Where was that ticket? Was it in Troy or?
It was in Troy, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Were you able to do a class to gain a dismissal of that ticket?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
The impact really is that you're not qualified to do that for 12 months after that class to the next ticket. Okay. So you probably wouldn't qualify for that program anyway. And that program is more expensive than teen court.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
So you would be unqualified to be in it and it's more money. So you don't even want that. But it is a similar class. I would really push you in this case toward the, I know people are concerned and I can't override health concerns. So I'm not giving medical advice. And if your family doesn't feel like you should go or a doctor doesn't feel like you should go, I'm not going to push you to go to something that you're uncomfortable doing. You can do an online class. The one I'm going to put in your packet is geared towards young drivers and young decision making. And young in this context is 25 and under. So I'm not calling you a baby. What I'm telling you is until we're 25, the magic number, and it's, give or take 10 months on either side of that, our frontal lobe is not fully connected. And we make different decisions when our frontal lobe is not fully connected. And that's just true. Parents are always nodding in the audience when I say this because we think back on our youth and we go, is that what that was? But the reality is, all the joking aside, because you've had 2 contacts over driving with the Texas judicial system, what I can tell you right now, guaranteed, is that you are in the top bracket for death and dismemberment on the roadway. You are in our highest risk group. Texas kills more young people your age than any other state. Okay. And why I like teen court is instead of 90 days to hope you get it, I'm giving you 30. Because the sooner the better. I don't want you hurt. I don't want you to hurt anyone else either. Aside from the insurance, which your father can tell you all about, because I'm sure he's paying that right now. Aside from that, there's a reason they hike up those rates, and that's because you have moved into a real risk group that is palatable. Okay. All right. So I really want your attention now.
Yes, ma'am.
I want you to survive driving.
Mhm.
And I don't know a better way except to urge you and reward you to take another class and really take it in.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Because I don't want to read about you. And every year there's at least one for me. Okay. So I'm going to require that class, and then I'm going to require it's a paper, the obit paper. But I'm not going to do 10 pages because he's already doing a class. I'm going to do 4. Yeah. So it's 4 pages, right? And we'll give you written directions for exactly what that's supposed to look like so that we are not playing with it. It's not a game. It's a real thing.
Yes,
And it really is something for you to do a little soul searching. It's not a research project. Okay. But it has to do with really what I make you do at this point is write your own obituary.
yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's great. And I'll give you written directions for that too. So what I'm going to require from you is today I need you to come by the court, pay the $20 fee, sign your paperwork, give a good look-see at it, make sure you don't have any questions, and then get everything done in 30 days so I can sign a dismissal and waive the $264 because your life is more important than those fees.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. All right. When can you get here? How soon?
I can just come right after this and go up there.
Perfect. Well, we should have everything ready in about 30 minutes. We have a
Okay.
COVID entry protocol that you'll be required to follow. And then it'll just be about 10 minutes or less in the building. And we're not
Okay.
flooded with people. We're controlling the ingress, egress to the degree that we can, just to keep everybody safe, but still get business done. Okay.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
that'll be available. It's going to look just like this. And it'll have the list of what you're doing. It'll have the conditions. And then it'll have signatures. Dad, you're welcome to come read it and sign it. He's actually not a minor, so you don't have to. But I always welcome and encourage parent involvement because we have better outcomes when we do that. So I would love to have you come up if you want to. But if you're heading back to work, well, we understand that too. On the essay, let's see, the driving school, you got it right. I could take any class. The one I've given you is the live one that I talked about that's geared toward young drivers. And again, I'm not trying to override or be a doctor. I'm not one. Okay. So you do what your family and you decide is the best thing there. We're asking you to pay for that class, and we're not charging fines and costs for that, partly for that reason. And then the second thing is free, but it's actually watching a series of videos and then answering a set of questions. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So, any questions? Okay. If you wind up reading through it and having questions when you come in, the clerk will probably have those answers. If the clerk does not have the answers for what you need to know, they'll schedule you to talk to me again. Okay. So, don't worry if a question comes up that you didn't think about before now. Okay.
Yes.
You can always access me by emailing in, and we'll set you up if I can't respond effectively through the email. Okay.
Okay.
All right. No further questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So I'm going to remove you from the meeting so you can head on over. We actually have everything ready. You know where we're located? Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
I'll take care. Okay. Zachariah, be safe. Okay.
I will. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Mr. Mobley.
I I just finished all of these up.
Okay. Can you go ahead and send them in?
Yeah, I'm gonna take a picture of them right now and then send these.
I'm actually going to remute you, and I'll be right back with you.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, so we can do a class. He can still hear us, but we can do, let me confirm that with him. Yeah, I just want to ask you a quick question.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. So when I look at the possession charge, that is a marijuana charge?
No, it was for the pipe that I had in my car.
What was the pipe for?
The it was like a pipe used for smoking, but we just like had it in the car when we got.
Right, but the officer's detail is talking about marijuana, right?
So we
I know you
had,
weren't charged with it. I'm trying to decide the conditions of your deferral. I don't really want to send you for a drug test. I'd rather you just be honest with me.
yeah, so we had smoked about a bowl, and that was really all that we had with us.
Okay.
And so we smoked that, and we had just been there for like an hour or so, just talking, sitting
Okay.
outside by the park. And then they came and it was there. So
Mhm. Okay, so the class will be, I mean, like, I don't want to send you to a meth class when it's marijuana,
mhm.
because you're not even going to be caring about that. So it's a marijuana awareness class. It's just an education course. I think that class will run you between $40 to $60.
Mhm.
The rest of your citation, I believe, I just need to confirm with the paperwork you're sending, will be through community service, which you can do in your community. You don't need to drive up here to do it. Okay. So I'm going to get
Okay.
that order ready. Have you sent the document in yet?
I am making sure that the pictures have all the information like
Yes.
completely, so that
Okay.
there's no.
I'm going to remute you. You'll be able to hear me still.
All right, it should be sent. It'll be sent over in about 2 minutes.
Okay. Sounds good. We'll keep looking for it. We're getting your documents ready. Of course, I'm going to need to email those documents to you and get your signature today.
Okay.
But that'll be the deferred conditions. So just to recap, I'll wait till you're done with your phone.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and email these over right now. Okay, I've just sent the email over.
Great.
Hold on. I don't know if it's letting me attach these. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to send it again, but
Okay. You want to send one page at a time? Would that be better for your system?
no, it's
It'll,
fine. It took them out on its own by accident. I don't know how it did that, but it did. Okay. I'm so sorry for the delay. This is okay.
Did it come in? We're getting that in. We're getting
Okay.
that in. Yeah. Did both pages come through? We got it.
Okay, good.
So that's good. That helps me know that we can get the rest of the things we need from you today. So it was kind of an important exercise on top of the fact that I need the information.
Okay.
Right. And so your deferred order will actually say 60 days from today, I need the community service from you.
Mhm.
I will also give you a list of places. Now, they're local, but
Mhm.
some of those places you'll find in your own community, like, oh gosh, the Salvation Army, for example, is one of my places, and so is Goodwill. But there are other things in your community. They just need to be a nonprofit organization under the laws of the state of Texas, and I will accept it.
Okay.
Make sure it's a nonprofit, because if it's not a nonprofit, you'll do all those hours and I'll have to reject them, okay?
Mhm.
So I can only take nonprofits for this kind of thing. On the same day that you turn in your proof of hours, you will turn in a certificate of completion for a class, and I will send that over to you, and it's got login information.
Okay.
Any marijuana awareness course is fine to me as long as it's a 4-hour or more class. Honestly, this is the most affordable one, so I tend to hand it out, but I'm not
Okay.
recommending them over something else. It's just, this one seems good to me. I have watched it. It's education, just like a tobacco class, a life skills class. But like I said, I didn't want to send you to, say, a meth class when you're not. Why would you need to be educated about that?
Mhm.
That's why I was asking the other information. You turn those two things in and you don't get any more citations. I'll dismiss this May 20th.
Okay.
So you have 60 days to get this back with the community service, but it's a whole 4 months of no more offenses. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So we're going to email that. I'm about to sign it. And what I need is your signature on it, and I need it back today.
Okay.
So we'll email everything over, print it out. I'm going to let you see what it looks like here in just a moment. Okay.
Okay.
Yes. And what I'd also like to do is sign it and scan it, and I'll show it to him real quickly. You'll email it to me. You can't scan in here right now? When are they going to fix that problem? Okay. I'll hold it up so you can see it, because apparently our scanner is down in here and I'll have to work on that. So at the top, you'll see a case number,
Okay.
right? Don't worry about reading it. And then what will happen is there's a series of checked boxes
Okay.
that tell you what you need to do. Importantly, you'll see that when it comes to payment, we've converted that to community service and the due date, your
Okay.
class and the due date. Just
Okay.
don't get any more tickets. Don't move without changing your address with us.
Mhm.
Your address current. Don't get arrested. Don't get warrants. Don't fail to come to court if you get set for a new court date. I'm not
Okay.
planning to schedule you for a court date. The only time that generally happens is if you are, somehow we think that there's a problem. If I think you haven't met the requirements, I set you for a meeting.
Okay.
Through Zoom. And we just try to get you back on track or talk to you about what's happened or see if my paperwork is in error.
Okay.
We will email this to you. And at the bottom, I've put a little X by a line, and that's where you're going to sign. So
Okay.
read it through. If you sign it, send it in. If you have questions, you can email those questions in with your return paper. The rest of
Okay.
the papers that we're going to include are yours to use to get into compliance with this order. You don't need to return them to us other than the certificate of completion. And there's a community service timesheet to
Mhm.
track your hours and tell us where you went, because we will verify both the hours
Okay.
and the hours and the nonprofit status. Okay. All
Okay.
right. Any questions?
So everything's going to be emailed over.
in about 10 minutes or less.
Okay. So then no questions left.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, Bunsen never turned up. Let me just give a quick look at that file while we're online. Yeah, I don't know why it wouldn't work. We're scanning into that system. So if it isn't working, I do need to know because I will push to get that address. That's unacceptable to me.
Because she told me it doesn't work. So I was just believing it.
Well, and it may be that we fixed that while she's been out. Because I want to say that that actually has been changed. Okay. Take a screenshot, could you? Do that again. On Blunson, it looks like missed court dates repeatedly.
So, and then who am I sending this to?
Send it to me, please. I'm gonna. Thank you. On Blunson, I'm looking and it looks like we sent a plea form, which we don't need to be doing.
Well, we just for whatever they're requesting is what we send in there, and then you'll mark it out with the rate on it.
Okay, that's great. Thank you for that detail. Got a pre-warning letter in January 9th. Show cause community service. Really, I'm looking and I see that all the communication is for the most part on our side.
It was like this email, they're gonna do it again later. And if I get to today's date, then she's gonna do it. Yeah.
I guess my feeling was that that's weird. It looks like she got reset to February 1st.
Her,
Show her pre-warrant letter.
pre-warrant letter was for the 1st of February, so then they put her out on Zoom. Yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah, we sent her everything she needed. I think her February 1st date didn't get canceled. As long as she persists in not showing up, I think on that date we're still,
Okay, so go ahead and put it back to the previous status.
yeah.
Oh, this is what happened. So she got a warning letter. They set her for the first and then they emailed, okay. So then put it back to.
Is that a 2/1/21 or a
Yes.
1/2/21?
So
Yeah.
go ahead and put it back to pre-warrant.
Yeah.
Okay. You got it? I can do.
I think they just said a communication date, really, for today. But otherwise it's a game, and that's a warrant just isn't a game at this point. So I put that in notes.
Okay, great.
If that reads unclearly to you, just let me know. Okay, we are wrapped up.
All right, I'm going to go upstairs and try this up again. I'll be back about 10:45. When I get in today. Or maybe a little earlier, 10:45.
Yes,
There you go. All right, bye-bye.
thank you. Thanks for your help this morning.